What's up, YouTubers? Lizard here from smuckfolking.com. I've got another quick review on a atomizer that I pick up from elixirliquid.com. This is a low resistance 306. They are available individually or in boxes of 5. They come in a individually wrapped and sealed package like this. But what the atomizer, if you're not familiar with 306s, it's an exposed bridge atomizer. And just let me show you real quick what it looks like. This one is a brand new one. So unlike a 510, everything is exposed. You have a 510 which, has the tube. This isn't a 510, this is a Cardo, but same principle. A 510 has the tube attached to it that is permanent. It doesn't come off. And a 306 is basically the coil with an exposed bridge at the top. And you use a 306 drip tip like this, and it slides over the tube to complete the atomizer. One thing that I do recommend on the 306s, I believe these are made by Joytech. I'm not 100%, but all 306s that I've seen were the same way. They have under this little bridge, you can't see it, but there's a little wick. It's like a little piece of twine, basically, and that's supposed to draw the juice down into the atomizer or down into the coil. Problem with that is after a while that wick starts to burn, and it gets carbon built up on it, and it starts giving a burnt taste. That burnt taste, once you have it, it doesn't go away. So I always de-wick the 306, and you do that by, this one's already done, but I'll give you a quick rundown on how I do it. Is you take something pointy, a toothpick, a needle, I'm using a bottle from a Rev 2, and you just poke it through under the bridge till you can see the wick sticking out one side, and then you use a pair of tweezers or your fingers or whatever, and you just pull that wick out. That way it doesn't burn, you don't get a burnt taste, and I just think it provides a better flavor. So you take your 306, you put your 306 drip tip on it, which, like I said, is just a plastic tube. Put that on there, and you get something like this. This is a 306. It's been de-wicked. I used to de-bridge them, and by de-bridging I mean this little bridge right here. I used to take that off so that you would have this. There's one with the bridge and one without the bridge. What I found is when you de-bridge these and you have your drip tip on them and you're dripping juice, the juice tends to form a bubble inside the drip tip, and it just kind of sits there without going down the tube, because there's pressure pushing up as the bubble is trying to go down. So it just kind of sits there and doesn't go anywhere. You got to thump it or tap it or blow in it to get that juice to run down the drip tip. I have found that by leaving that bridge on there, that when that bubble hits that bridge, it breaks the surface tension and the juice falls to the bottom, which is what you want it to do, because that's where the coil is. So that's just the way it works for me. Your mileage may vary. It may work differently for you, but for me, that's how it works. Another thing I have found pretty consistent with 306s is there is a break-in period. When you first start using one, It's everyone I've used has seems like it's not performing that well. Very little vapor. The flavor's there, but the vapor is very very low. Vapor production very low. After using it for, you know, 20 30 minutes, it starts performing better and better and better and better. I have found that about the second day that I've been using it, um, they're working as good as they're going to work, and they work that well until they die. Speaking of until they die, I also, for me, a 306 seems to last me a lot longer than a 510. I am notorious for killing a 510. I've killed 510s in a matter of hours. I have 306s that I have had for a couple of months that still work. So for me, they work a lot better, they work longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare a low resistance 306 on an Ego battery. This Ego battery's been around forever. This was the first Ego I ever bought. Voltage wise, it's probably about 3.3, 3.4, and so perfect for a low resistance atomizer. I'm going to compare the vapor production on the low voltage and low resistance to a standard resistance 510 at 5 volts on the GLV. I'll use the same juice in both, and just so you can get an idea of the vapor production and how a low resistance atomizer compares to a standard resistance atomizer at higher voltage. So let's start with the GLV at 5 volts. It's got some jealousy in it, also from elixirliquid.com. It's a little low. Let's add a couple of drops. So really good vapor production at 5 volts on a standard resistance atomizer. And that's the reason people want to go to a higher voltage device is because there's more vapor. It's a little hotter. It burns. Some juices work or have a better taste when they burn a little hotter, like at 5 volts, 6 volts. I know people that vape at 7 volts, 7.4, 8 volts. It's ridiculous. So now let's try it on the Ego, which I'm going to estimate is about 3.3, 3.4 volts. Same juice, low resistance, low voltage device. Wipe that off. So about the same vapor production at a much lower voltage and a much smaller device, obviously. Definitely improvement over when I first started vaping. I knew nothing about resistances and voltage and atomizers and cartomizers. And, I picked up a 510 kit with the cartridges on them and just a standard atomizer. And no vapor production whatsoever. Finally stepped up to an Ego, discovered low resistance atomizers, started using those, and it totally renewed my interest in vaping. The 510, I was like, I need to see that big cloud of smoke. That's what does it for me. That's what keeps me from going back to smoking cigarettes, is that big cloud of smoke that comes out of your mouth when you use a high voltage device. So if you are a low voltage vapor and you want to see, the big vapor production, I think the flavor is a little better on 306 on a low resistance, simply because it burns a little hotter. Like I said, some flavors do better with a little more heat. You get a little more flavor production. The drawback that most people complain about on a 306 is leakage. They do, after a while, tend to start leaking right there because it's not a sealed. This is not sealed, it just slips over there, and so eventually it will start leaking right there. That having been said, there's a new device out now called the DCA 306, which is drip cup adapter for 306, and lots of people are checking them out. Lots of people are really liking them, and it basically gets rid of the one drawback of the 306, in my opinion, and that's the leakage. I don't have a DCA. I am planning on getting one, and I'll be doing a review of it once I do. But basically what it is, it's basically a cup that the 306 atomizer goes inside of, and then you can use your normal 510 drip tips. So with that out, a lot of people are going back to the 306 because, in my opinion, a 306 is a superior atomizer compared to a 510. If it wasn't for that pesky leaky problem. I love them. I deal with the leaks. I just love them that much. So that's it. That is the low resistance 306. If they're not available now, they will be in the next couple of days on elixirliquid.com. Great vapor production, great flavor. I love these things, I really do. I normally buy them by the box of 5 because I like them that much. I always want to have one available. I don't want to be without my 306s. So, yeah, definitely check them out, elixirliquid.com. I believe you can buy them singly or, like I said, in a 5-pack. You also can purchase the 306 drip tips, which come in, assorted colors. There's a smoke color, red, green, clear, all kinds of colors. So check them out. Again, this is Lizard from smuckpoking.com. You can drop me an email at leezrd@smuckpoking.com. You can follow me on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter. You can post comments down there. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you don't want to see. And thanks for watching. Peace.